This is Rat Tail, podcast about games and the stories they tell. Join your buddies, me, Adam, Thibault, and Gimo, Barrera, with our special guest for episode number 126, where we'll discuss everything, but also nothing.
All right, guys, today's episode is about nothing. We actually did it. So,
yes.
Thanks for listening.
I'll play the outro out, everybody.
Yeah. Grab your guitar.
It's a good episode.
So, this is the last episode for the Shelf of Fame. I think we tried to sprinkle some episodes in between. I don't know how well that worked out because we're recording in the past, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Last episode, we're going to the last remaining categories that we voted on. This time around, we have Bruno, who you probably heard a lot now in the podcast.
Not as much, guys.
Yeah. Not as much. He gets censored a lot, so maybe only like 60% of his content you've heard on the podcast. Adam told me that when he was editing one of your episodes, he's like, yeah, I had to censor this. And then I'm editing one of his episodes, and I was editing it earlier in the morning, and I'm like, I guess I also have to censor this.
Look, these liberals just can't accept the truth that I see.
So, you know what I noticed, though? When Adam censors you, he like chops up the feed to make it look like it's just a continuous sentence. I like to put the beep so people know when I censor Bruno. So I put that in there. I go like beep. It's like so everyone knows. Everyone knows what happened. So,
listen, man, Apple's about to get censored. I know that. I won't be the only one now. It's going to be like a full list of people
censored
who
on the
censored.
episode I released. That's
there you go. There you go.
Oh my god.
I think you guys are just crying. But whatever.
So I had a couple of news. I know I want to talk to you, Bruno, going back to school, what you're doing with friends and stuff. But one of the news I had was I went outside to let Peppa out right before the podcast.
You went outside?
Right. Yep, I went outside.
That's weird.
And then I'm like, I pick up her poop, and I'm like, great. And then as I go to the trash, I notice there's a mushroom there, like it's like an ugly mushroom, right? And I'm like, great, here we go. And I have to take this out because Peppa gets like food poisoning if she eats them. So what I want to do is like, I don't want to grab the mushroom with my hand because I'm like, it looks kind of gross. So I grab a leaf to pick it up, and there was poop on the leaf. So anyway, and now here's the other portion of this is, so I have a couple tattoos, right? And I don't know if you know, Adam, my latest tattoo is like Toon World from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Okay, so I do have one. And so when you get a tattoo, you have to get a specific soap, that's bacterial soap. But importantly, so you don't get irritation, it has to be fragrance.
You fucking
fragrance free. It has to be fragrance free, which means my hand still smells like shit because even though I washed it, it doesn't take out the smell. It just sticks with the bacteria.
It's fucking gross, dude. That is gross.
Anyway, Bruno, how are things going? You started school. Any games yet? Any games planned?
Well, actually, I did. My friend decided to host a D&D game. And I've been DMing for like 3 years. So I didn't really know how he would do. Mm-hmm. And he's making a lot of like newbie mistakes. Like having 8 people in the campaign for one. Which is very... I don't know. Everyone's talking there. And they'd be great for this podcast. They're like, let's play a 12-hour session, guys. And I left. I was like, you guys have fucking issues. And I walked out. So on board game news, that's what I'm going to be trying to do. I'll try to give updates.
Friends?
Yeah, walk out on Friends. Although, if the premium Great Western Trail ever reaches Gimo's collection, that's what I will be playing. Is the old version of Great Western Trail.
Yeah.
Nice.
If I ever get my second edition, you're going to get my first edition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you getting? Did you buy second edition, or are you gonna?
I did.
Okay.
But I bought it like last year, dude.
Oh, what the fuck! I got mine. Well, I went to a con, I guess, and got it.
Yeah. Well, mine also. I bought it with this other like neoprene mat for War of the Ring, and that's been on back order, so it's been keeps on getting pushed out. So
at this point, you might as well just get like Argentina or whatever the next one is.
Yeah, I already bought it. It's just sitting at the warehouse of Miniature Market. It's just chilling there, waiting for the other part of the order to arrive, which is the neoprene mat.
Okay, so who designed Great Western Trail?
Alexander Pfister.
All right, that guy makes like one good game.
No.
I tried Maracaibo,
Oh,
and I did not like that game at all, dude. That game was fucking ass.
No.
No, okay. So Great
You
Western
played
Trail
Broom
has such
Service
a...
or Mombasa?
No, I'm only talking about his failure of a game, Maracaibo. I hope he's listening to this so he never gives you guys any sponsorships. No, but I remember playing it, and it was kind of just bleh. It's just... Like, Great Western Trail has such
Like,
an
compared to Great Western Trail,
mechanic.
or just,
compared
like,
to
in
Great
general?
Western Trail specifically.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think it's blah, but I do agree that it's not better than Great Western Trail.
So what makes it not bleh for you? Because Great Western Trail introduces this mechanic of card fixing along with moving around the board, which is a really fun way to do it. But then Maracaibo doesn't really have much meat in it.
It does like the area control, like that's what it's trying to do, right? Like I agree it's a different game. So like I'm trying to decrease my collection. So I'll probably will keep Great Western Trail. I probably won't keep Maracaibo because they're similar enough, and I think Great Western Trail executes the idea of rondel worker placement better. So I don't think I need both, but I wouldn't say Maracaibo is a bad game, and Maracaibo has like a campaign, so that's something.
That's something. That is something.
How about Cosmic Encounter Legacy? The game that we can't schedule because everyone gets COVID nowadays.
Dude, everyone. So we tried. I don't know if I told you that, Adam. We tried to schedule Cosmic Encounter, and then one of our friends texts back. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm sick, so I should be good by this weekend." And everyone's like, "Did you test for COVID?" And he's like, "No." So it's like, "All right, test." He's like, "Okay, I'll test." And then he tests, and then he's positive for COVID. So fuck him. First of all right. Because I know it like that. Like I'm not surprised at all that that's how like the conversation went because that's like his personality type. But either way, we're like, all right, whatever. So then I'm like, all right, everybody but him. I guess we can still hang out and play something else. So then Matt basically texts back. He's like, "Hey, I also got COVID now." And I'm like, okay, fucking great. So I was like, don't come over because I don't want to get COVID. And then I got COVID that weekend.
I'm so glad I didn't get COVID. It was like
Bruno was
weekend.
here too.
Yeah, it was a weekend before I move in, and this ass was like, "Oh, I tested positive. Come give me a kiss." Oh,
I did not say that.
Dude.
Get the fuck out of here. I put on a
was
mask
fucked up.
immediately, and I was pretty annoyed that I got COVID. But it was from my work. Everyone at my work got COVID.
Really?
That's what it was. Somebody came in. That's where it was from. Because everybody, when I came back, everyone has said how everybody was out that whole week. Like a quarter of the company was out from COVID that week.
I
So
mean,
somebody must have brought it in and just spread the love everywhere.
it's like a good thing, man. I don't know. I think right now, the way we are, it's like impossible to beat COVID. I think you just have to get it and like cross your fingers.
We lost, dude. We lost the fight.
We did lose the fight.
These people
All
at
right.
work are getting it now too. It's crazy. It's like rampant
Get it.
everywhere.
Everyone's doing it, Adam. Get it.
Yeah, everyone's doing it.
Actually, talking about the fight, where is Frosthaven? Is it out yet?
No.
It's
My God.
Still a backorder?
So
It's not back
here's
order,
the
it's still
thing.
in
I'm pretty
China.
sure we started the podcast when you pre-order Frosthaven, and we're ending it, and you still haven't gotten it.
I might get it before we end the podcast.
All right, we'll see,
They're
dude.
still
Maybe that,
projecting end of the year.
dude, that'll be the perfect circle of getting it before the podcast ends, so we can end the podcast with you getting Frosthaven.
That could literally happen.
Yeah.
Oh, my friend who got Gloomhaven, he bought it. He bought Jaws of the Lion, right? Because he wanted to like try it out, and no one would play it with him because everyone who he would ask has played Gloomhaven and they hated it. So he ended up returning it, and you know what he got? Everdale,
Which is a good game.
which is an upgrade. Good for him.
I agree.
Yeah.
Talking about Gloomhaven, what do we think? Is he's gonna make it to the list or not? You want to jump to the?
We'll
the
find
shelf
out.
of fame?
Well, it's definitely not going to be in our first category,
I don't
which
mind.
is party games. So,
Wait. Why wouldn't it be on this? Isn't this games where you create a party? So like you have a party of people, like a elf, a
It's
dwarf.
definitely that. No,
Yeah.
it's more games that you would play at a party. So, let's see what games made it for party game. Like others before, or actually, last episode didn't have any, but this one does not
Yeah.
have the complete 5. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have any honorable mentions, and it doesn't have a fifth. But it does have a fourth.
Wait, so before we go to that,
Mhm.
isn't that kind of crazy? I think party, which is funny because the party category should probably be the easiest one to fill out, I think, for everyone.
Okay, so here's the funny thing, too. We had it last year, and we did have 5.
So
And now this year, magically down to 4.
people
I
just
think-
hate fun, dude.
I don't know. Maybe it's a
Fun.
computational error. I recommended a game that I don't see on here, so I'll
Wow.
make sure I'll talk about it.
Sure. Number 4, though, is Wavelength. It's a game we've talked about. We've actually played a lot. We've played a lot of these, actually. Most of these are our go-to party games for the group. I mean, a party game takes a party to play it, so it makes sense that most people feel the same way about the same games. So Wavelength, relatively new. You're trying to guess on a scale where the clue falls between 2 different polar opposites and leads to lots of replayability. And for me, it hasn't gotten old yet. I know, Gimo, you said that you were skeptical about buying it in the first place because you said you thought it was going to get old. How do you feel now, like a year or 2 after that purchase?
So I haven't bought it yet.
Oh, you didn't buy it?
And-
Oh, okay.
No, because
Oh,
I've been
okay.
playing, but I play it a lot because one of our friends has it and he always brings it. So
Yeah.
I get to play this game a lot.
Okay.
And honestly, I think it's a safe buy.
Okay.
Right? Like,
Okay.
there's a game like Just One. I like Just One a lot.
Mhm.
But that one, I'm at the end of the game where I'm like, I don't need to play
less
it again.
replayability. Oh, interesting.
Right. I'm like, I'm done with it. I'm like, I'll play it maybe one or more time. Somebody brings it up and they want to try it. I'm like, sure. But I don't think I ever need to play it again. Wavelength, it's surprisingly still holding up. Like, every time we play it, it's a new, because it's always, I guess, it's always a new prompt, right? So everyone's
Yeah.
mentality is always slightly different. So you kind of have to figure that out. And the gimmick's still working. So kudos to that. I should have bought it, but it's okay now because my friend has it. He always brings it, and you're right, it's been like 2 years and it's still fucking, I think it deserves to be in one of the top 5 spots. Like, I'm okay with it being in the party top 5.
Well, it's good because it's there.
Have you gotten any like repeat answers on it though? Because that was the problem with a lot of games with cards. At least I found is that when you repeat a card, that's when the game starts getting old.
I think that's the nice thing about this one because you have to spin the dial too.
Yeah.
So even if you get the same range from like hot to cold, it could be all the way towards the hot, all the way towards the cold, in the middle. And then in the middle is like super subjective. Like at the poles, it's pretty, you could get repeats. I could see that. But in the middle, like it's super, super subjective.
And I think it has like 3 variables to avoid that issue, right? You have the card, the dial, and the person. So it could make it very different, kind of in the same way like Codename works, right? It's just like, because the cards are always might be the same, but the way they connect are different. So like it creates a little bit more combinations you can have.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Bruno? Anything else, Gimo?
Nope. Let's move along.
Cool. Number 3, Liar's Dice. This is one of my personal favorite party games. I really love the whole just basically guessing. But you have some amount of information and the bidding. The bidding being the driving mechanic. I love bidding. So, Bruno, throw it to you.
I
Liar's
don't know
Dice.
what Liar's Dice is. This
Okay.
is the first
Oh,
time
you've
I've
never
seen
played
it?
it?
No. What is
Oh.
Liar's Dice?
It's like Skull. You ever played Skull? Skull and Roses?
Yes.
Okay, it's that Skulls and Roses is based on that Liar's Dice. So Liar's Dice, I like. FYI, I really like Liar's Dice. And basically, all you do is you roll it, and then you have dice, right? And then you're trying to. Everyone has their dice, and then you're trying to say, "Hey, I have like a pair of 2s, right?"
No.
And then it goes, and then basically everybody has a chance to say, "Oh, you know what? I can beat that number by saying something higher." Kind of like in Skulls and Roses, are you like, "Oh, well, I can show 3 roses instead," right? So you're trying to one up the person. So it's very similar in that. So
But it's on the
kinda
whole
like
table. It's everybody's
Yeah.
collective together dice, not just yours.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. You're right. So it's just like Skulls and Roses, where you're like, can I reveal this many numbers? It's really good. I prefer Skulls and Roses just because it's even simpler, and it's not like Liar's Dice needs to be difficult, and it's not difficult. But I think it's a good game. I'm surprised that it's here, to be honest. I'm assuming, Adam, you nominated it?
Yeah, I love this game.
Yeah, it's good. Like, I probably voted it a buy. I'm not Nothing against the game. I really do like it. I wouldn't expect it to be in a top 5, so it's interesting that it's number 3 in the party category when there's so many other party games.
It beat Wavelength too. Beat Wavelength.
Yeah. So our friends agree. We like it. It made it to the top. It's a good game though. What are your thoughts, Adam? Yeah.
It's a good one. Yeah. Again, I love the bidding. I love the randomness because it's just a short, quick game. Like I guess you kind of compare this to like Vegas dice. Like Vegas dice has the allocation versus like the bidding. Still with the random, like just rolling dice and whatever comes out comes out. I like this one a lot. I think it's my go-to party game. For especially like it doesn't really have a cap. You can kind of play this game with any number of people. I mean,
as long as you have dice, yeah.
Yeah, it takes longer, sure, with more people, but you're not really affected. Like if the bid doesn't get to you that round, so what? Then you can't lose. So I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like kind of like I said, because it's just against Skulls and Roses, you lose a die and stuff.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why, like I said, I if Skulls and Roses would have been here, I would have been happy. So that's why I don't want to give shit to Liar's Dice because they're basically the same game.
Mm-hmm. All right then, number 2 in party, Captain Sonar. Bruno.
I
hell?
love this game.
Okay.
I played it. I think actually it's not played enough. Usually, having an even amount of people is difficult. So I think that's why. I think that's probably the biggest flaw that game has. Is that you need to play with an even amount.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't really see anything with this pick.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we talked about it on 2 episodes ago, I believe. Maybe in last episode, I don't remember. But either way, it's. I think the point of a party game is to keep everyone involved in having a good time, right? Because there's having a good time in a board game. Like I have a good time on a game like The Gallerist, but there's also having a good time when you're laughing like out loud. You're lolling, you know.
Yes.
And
lolling.
Captain Sonar is the lolling game. Whether you say it's strategic or not, it's definitely a party game because you're yelling, you're insulting each other, or you're like laughing at a big fuck up that someone did. Kind of like I remember one of the games that someone was playing was like they were crossing shit out, but the other person was filling up the one they were crossing out. So then the captain's ready and be like, and they just said it was just miscommunication, right? So he's like, all right, we're ready to shoot the missiles. And they're like, guys, we can't shoot missiles. So that shit's
more
funny.
Than you think.
Right?
Happens more than you
exactly. I love team games. I wish there was more team games, and I wish there was more team games that were not party games, to be honest. I don't think there's enough of those games, but this is one that I like a lot.
It happens more than you think because you wanna communicate your intent to the rest of your team, but you don't want the person whose literally job is to just listen to you to hear they're going for missiles. Well, now let's like counteract that, Captain. So it's we did talk about it at some point during this, but it's a really fun game. I didn't necessarily think of it as a party game, but now after you described it and after I think about it a little bit more, I understand why it's in the category, and I'm glad it's number 2. And then number 1, by far and away this group's favorite, except for I guess probably Telestrations. The number 1 is The Game of Things.
Yeah. The Illustrations did not make it to the list, which is very unfortunate.
That's such a good game, yeah.
Enough hate, excluding from Adam. Enough hate. You got enough hate that it didn't make it in. The Game of Things is a solid number 1.
All on my own.
Yeah. Game of Things is a solid number 1. I don't think anyone in our group of friends would ever turn this game down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. Unless we're not playing with points, and I can see a couple people dropping out.
Fucking Apton. Apton hates not playing with points.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what else to say on this one. Apart from like, it grabs Cards Against Humanities and makes it a good game, right? It goes like, fuck these, like, it's a new joke every time.
Yeah.
It's like it's like we just went camping and we were playing it. And all I was writing was about, like, stupid share where I was like, it was like, things you don't like listening to. And I'm like, Hannah talking shit behind everyone's back here. Like, stupid shit like that. I love this game. It's so good.
The open-endedness really makes it, right? I think the fact
Yeah.
that you can write literally whatever you want, because that's the restriction with like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity, is that you have to respond with another card.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get to
Yeah.
respond with literally whatever you want.
And I think this game allows for... It's like a different game with every group.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I think with this list, I think it's missing a lot. Illustrations, I think it's missing. I did say Lupin Chewy, but I think I'm the only one who remembers it.
I don't even think that's a party game,
dude.
dude.
But there are a couple things. Wavelength to be number 4 over a lot of other games is questionable to me. I think it deserves top 5, but with games that are missing from it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder.
My favorite party game, I think, is Mad Gab, but none of you guys like that game. So
What's Mad Gab?
it's a game where there's like different words. It's like the clue is like 5 words, but you're supposed to like say it fast and mush it together to make a phrase that actually makes sense. It's like 5 nonsense words.
You're like 80 years old. Like, what is this fucking like Victorian era
It's,
game? you're describing?
that's literally, honestly, that's literally what those games. It's like those shitty like Target games that nobody like plays anymore.
Yeah,
It's like Boggle. It's like it's like saying
Dude,
your
I also
favorite
used to play
board game
Boggle
is
a lot,
Boggle. Yeah. You know what my favorite medium light game is? Bananagrams.
I hate that game.
Oh, you just hurt Adam's feelings, too.
Oh shit.
Dude, all right. One of our friends bought Mad Gab because I brought it one time and they liked it so much. So
All right.
the rest of you got to catch up.
I'm
Mad
sorry for saying
Gab.
what
Get
I
on the
said.
Mad
Dude,
Gab train.
You gotta stop being a hater and let illustrations in. I can't believe Adam's probably the reason illustration didn't.
I'm
Okay,
Yeah,
listen.
that
If
is
I was
such
the reason
a-
illustrations didn't get in, then why isn't Gloomhaven anywhere? All right.
No, it's
Should've been on
just
the party.
Your reasoning for illustrations is so hard to understand.
Yeah, you're
Why?
dumb.
Why?
Me and Bruno are smart. You're dumb.
You're dumb. You went to Jupiter to get more stupider, dude.
All right. I like to
you wanna
watch
go to
cartoons.
co-op?
I don't like to draw them.
Oh, okay, I understand.
All right, let's move to the next category.
All right. Next category is cooperative. Gimo's favorite. So. Actually, I've kind of gotten a lot more into like most of my playing right now is cooperative games.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I also used to be like Gimo and hate them, but now I play them a lot.
The other thing about co-ops is just like party, it's the only other category that apart from campaign and legacy that we did the first campaign, the first episode for Shelf of Fame. It's the only other category that didn't make 5. So
It is the only
Yeah.
other category that didn't make 5. There were a couple others that didn't get any honorable mentions, but this one
Yeah.
also short does not have 5.
And I think it's our group of friends. I don't think most of our friends like co-op games. We never played them. Throughout college, nobody really was interested in them, so...
Yeah, but that logic doesn't make sense because do our friends not play party games? I mean,
That's true. But I mean, I think party games is a little more decisive. Like, I think... I guess with party games, I think it's different that some people like some and dislike some, right? With co-op, I think most of them are disliked. I think it's the difference, right? I think party's just more swingy, like kind of like illustrations. We love illustrations, but a lot of people don't like it. Or like Just One, some people love it. Or Codenames, right? People love it, people don't like it. Or Time's Up, same thing. People love it, people don't like it. With co-ops, I think like Pandemic, most people don't like it. In a lot of those games that are co-ops like that, it's like most people don't like it.
So before you transition, I was a bad host, and I forgot to mention the party games from last year. So
go ahead.
last year, party game number 5, Time's Up, Title Recall. Number 4,
Yeah.
Wavelength was still in the same spot. Number 3, The Mind, which I think was controversial. I think Gimo did not appreciate that. Number 2, Codenames, and number 1, Game of Things. So Game of Things retains its top spot.
Yeah, that's crazy that
That
he
is
got it
really
all the way.
weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad Time's Up isn't here though.
I love Time's
Oh,
Up.
I
I
like
fucking
Time's Up,
hate
too.
Time's Up.
I like the concept of those games. When I was a kid, we had this Disney charades game, but it was the same kind of concept, where like you keep
Yeah.
drawing cards until like the person gets it, and you have to like either you start with like you can use infinite number of words, and then you can use like one word, and then you have to do charades, like
Yeah.
that whole shtick.
Well, I think before we move on, this is really fast. I think the biggest issue is that I have my own play group that are young people, right? So with Time's Up, their issue is fucking old celebrities or older movies. And if you just have two people at the table with really weird hobbies and they're destroying the game, right? Depending on your matchup, you're going to have an awful time. So,
But there are other versions that are like themed probably to meet your group's demand if you wanted to.
Yeah, but then I have to buy that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I don't think the game holds up.
Right. I understand. I get what you're saying.
I think I bursted someone's bubble. Gimo, are you okay? Did I just shit on your fave game?
Time's Up is one of my favorites. All right, let's move to co-op, or else we're gonna be a party the whole fucking time. We have a lot of stuff to cover.
It's fine. All right, co-op. So again, doesn't have 5. So number 4, Escape Curse of the Temple. We already talked about this on a different episode. So Bruno, what are your thoughts on Escape Curse of the Temple?
I think it should be higher up. I think that's a really good game. I think it on my previous episode talking about moderators, Escape of the Cursed Temple literally removes that, has that CD, which is kind of weird. Mainly just because it's like reminds me of Hero Escape, how it comes with like the VHS tape.
No, Dragon Strike.
Yeah, Dragon Strike.
Well, but, so it is in the sense of like when you guys were talking about moderators, it's a way to get out of a moderator, right? It's the CD is a moderator replacement.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think Escape Curse of the Temple is really good, and I wish I still had it in my collection.
I have it in my collection because I took Bruno's copy. He didn't want it. He says, I don't play it. And then he regretted it once he started playing it. He asked me for it back a couple of times, and I was like, nah, that's not happening. Hey, did you read the co-ops from last year? Oh, no, we didn't have
any last year.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's keep moving along then. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, we kind of already said everything about Escape. Yeah.
Number 3 is new to us talking about it, and it is The Mind. Showed up in Party last year, and this year it's in Cooperative. Gimo, you want to start with The Mind?
Yeah, I think it fits a lot better in this category. I don't think it's... I mean, I can see why people consider it a party game. I don't think it's not, but it's definitely a co-op, and it's definitely the type of co-op that I love, which is solve a puzzle together, and everybody has to... Together, you have all the information. Is how do you communicate it? And games like Hanabi and The Mind do this, or like the game called The Game, right? Have this scenario where it's just like, hey, try to share this information. And in The Mind, they did this mechanic where it's just like you just wait. Literally, downtime is the mechanic, and it fucking works. We played it. You can beat this game if you get good at it. You know exactly. You're like, okay, this is kind of the time that I should be playing this. So. I'm just the best part about this game is that it fucking works and that you have a good time with it. It's not like there's like a gimmick in a game that you're like, oh, I guess this gimmick does work. It doesn't make it a good game. It just means that the gimmick worked. In this case, it was a gimmick that works and it made it fun. So that's my thing.
I think I love the game. You can't talk during the game, so farts become that much more important.
Farts?
Yeah. To tell the other person some information. But,
oh, sure.
I don't know. I really like it. I think it's, especially if you're just living with like a roommate, you can play something for 5 minutes that you get better at as you go. I think this game works better if you keep replaying it. The more you replay it, the better it gets, which a lot of games don't have.
It's true. That's very true. Normally you get like sick of it or tired of it, but this one you're like trying to improve and get better at it. It's pretty cool.
Well, what do you think, Adam?
I really like this game too. I think it's challenging enough so that you want to keep coming back, and that it's not just like a given that you're going to win, like no matter who you're playing with, pretty much. I don't know. 2-player I think is maybe a bit simpler, but it does scale, right, based on how many players you're playing with.
Yeah, it scales.
Because 2 players, I think you have more levels too,
and like less cheating or helping, I guess. So I think it is a good balance. This is a game I would want to play with more people. Like I wouldn't want to sit down with one other person and play this, but for cooperative in this space, I agree. It's a good cooperative game. And I think the part I like about it is that it scales and you can accept a lot of people into the game.
Damn straight.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, Captain Sonar again. Again. Also number 2 this time.
Yeah.
So we literally just talked about it. I think for all the same reasons that it was a good party game, it's a good co-op game.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is that I think like if we ever do this again, that co-op category, I would label it co-op and team, because technically these are two different things. Like co-op, you cooperate with either everyone on the table, or you can split it in half and you're only cooperating with a few people. So that's the only thing I would say. It's like in this category, I think it'd be nicer to replace it to co-op and team games.
Sure.
But yes, I agree. Captain Sonar should be on this list because there's a lot of cooperation in this game. You have to work like a team. It just happens to be 2 teams, but you really have to work as a team to get it going.
Right.
I give a verbal thumbs up to this game.
All right, number 1 in cooperative for 2022, Shelf of Fame, is The Crew. This one would probably also be my number 1. Really love Trick Takers. Really love that they made it into a cooperative Trick Taker, which I was skeptical about at first, but it definitely pulled my intrigue, and it works. It works really well. I think base game is kind of like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. They have set missions that you can do, and you can kind of choose your own difficulty. But based on who you're playing with, then the expansion kind of lets there be a little bit more variability. Even if you've played it through once, you could play it through again all the way from 1 to 50 or whatever, and get a different experience. So what do you guys think about The Crew?
I was about to shit on this game, but then I heard Adam talk about it, and then I remember that it wasn't as bad as I was about to make it out to be. I think, number 1, it deserves it in the sense of what Adam just said. You can do a lot with it. It's one of those games where it's so small, yet there's so much you can do with it, different difficulties. So actually, good job, The Crew.
I hate this game. I don't understand why it's on the list.
Yeah,
it kind of takes the best part out of like trick taking game, the competition, and it just makes it until you're playing a fucking random deck of cards. It's the worst.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it is. This is also ranked my number 1. It's like this is my number 1 vote for co-op, and I'm very glad that it got to number 1. That you know what it is? I love Tichu and I love The Crew. And Tichu's team based. It's not co-op fully, but it's team based. And Tichu is like a shedding game, like a ladder building game. Mm-hmm. And The Crew is, the trick taking game, which are both mechanics that I really love. But with Tichu, it's kind of, most people know trick taking, and they don't necessarily know the type of trick taking that's like a shedding game is. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to find people that are at least mediocre at The Crew than it is to find people that are mediocre at Tichu.
Is Tichu cooperative?
It's teams.
Oh.
So it's 2v2. So it's really fun, especially if everyone at the table has this. Basically, all I'm saying is I put Tichu and The Crew together. I think they're both equally good. The difference is that it's easier to find people that know how to trick take than to shed, which makes The Crew easier to play with new people, right? Because at least they're mediocre. Sometimes they make, a lot of times when I play with people, they make misplays, and it's okay because it just adds to the fucking challenge of the game. Last time we played, I was making all the misplays because I was like, it's too fucking late. I was like, I know what I have to do. It was like really basic shit. It's like, shit, I was supposed to count the orange cards, and I forgot to count. So it's like, shit like that. So
no one will play Tichu with me anymore.
Oh,
no
yes.
one wants to play Tichu with me.
Bruno has the same problem that he has with Push Your Luck's games, because Tichu has a portion of Push Your Luck, which is if you don't look at your cards, you can double your bid. Well, you can, you double your bid if you look at your cards and say you're gonna like be the first one out.
Spades.
Yeah, or you can not, and it's kind of like spades. I think they had like what's it, nil or whatever.
Yeah, double nil.
You can, double nil, which is you don't look at your hand and then you double your bid. And Bruno does it every fucking time, and then it's like, oh, see, it worked once, and I'm like, yeah, we're down by like 2,000 points, but we worked once, so we made 400 or something.
Yeah, look, that's the way you should play.
I don't think I've played that one, Tichu. We should play.
You should play. I agree.
Yeah. I think you'd like it. Again, it's fun once you get. It's only 2v2, so like you can get. I tried to play it with Hannah. She's not a big fan because she doesn't really like trick takings and stuff like that though either.
Will we move on to the light category?
Next category is light, one of our evergreen categories. That is how we separate our weight of games. So, of course, we had this one last year. Last year, the top 5 were No Thanks at 5, Splendor at 4, Bonanza at 3, the only way, Tokaido at 2, and For Sale at 1. This year, in 2022, we have some of the same customers and some new guys. So we'll start with the honorable mentions. We have 2 in this category. The honorable mentions are Tokaido and No Thanks. So it looks like No Thanks slipped off the list, and Tokaido is now a newcomer, but only as an honorable mention.
Yeah. Both great games.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah.
I love Tokaido so much that I have a pirated copy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both
It
very
has
light,
a
which is
legal
good.
copy.
Yeah.
I'm calling the police right now, dude.
Did
911.
you
Hello?
steal from a
This
grocery
is Gimo.
store?
It's Bruno. He has an illegal copy.
How does that DVD thing go? You guys used to watch this, you wouldn't steal from a grocery store.
Yeah.
So don't
You
steal
wouldn't steal a
movies.
purse. So why
Yeah.
would you steal a movie?
There we go.
Doom, doom, doom.
I do remember those commercials.
They're both good. Adam, I don't know. I mean, No Thanks. I'm going to be honest. I'm looking at the list. All good. So I wouldn't say that any of these 2 deserves to be a top 5. But even if they were in the top 5, I would still be happy with it. This is the light category is a pretty good category, I think, for all the games in it. We'll get to them. I don't know. Anything, Adam, on these?
Yeah, I agree with both them being left out. No Thanks doesn't quite make it for me, but Tokaido is one that I like. That's kind of a gateway game for me. That's one that I would keep in my collection if I had more and I was playing with more people to introduce people to the hobby. I think it's a very quick to learn game that's also fun, and that has strategy for people whether you're just learning or you've played it a bunch of times. So that one for me, I do enjoy. No Thanks, honestly, is almost a no thanks for me. So
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. That game's great. That game is fucking great.
it teeters
Thanks is pretty good.
on the edge for me.
Yes, please. This should be called.
Yes, please. All right. Well, speaking of yes, please, 'cause this game's on the list so many places. Number 5, Escape: Curse of the Temple.
I mean, that's gotta say something about this game. If it made it into so many different categories, and it actually got voted in as a top 5 on a lot of these categories. Yeah,
Sure.
It means we got paid a lot of money to put this game on.
That's why we're ending the podcast. We're weighed enough. We made our threshold.
Yeah.
We can retire now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a reason why I'm not giving it back to Bruno. It's the same reason that I said before.
Right.
It's a good game.
Never seen you fucking play the damn thing.
What?
Who are you playing it with?
I've played it.
That's
I think
what I
I've played
wanna
like
know.
6 times.
Yeah.
Exclusively.
And it's one of those games, you can play it multiple times. You can play it once and everyone's like, that was good. Let's do one more. And it's only 10 minutes. It's exactly 10 minutes. So, you can be like, hey, guys, we have 12 minutes. What do we do? 2 minutes to set up, 10 minutes to play. Boom.
It's true. Yeah, it's so light, so easy to understand. Anybody can play this game. Very cool, very fun. All the same reasons we liked it for all the other categories, we still like it. So, number 4 on the list for this year is The Quacks of Quedlinburg. Recently got a new expansion, but I don't think that really affected our perception of this game. We were playing it well before then. The bag building concept, and I think it's also another one like Tokaido, where it's really simple, anybody can figure it out, and the press your luck makes it so that whether you're a seasoned veteran at the game or it's your first time, you all have the same shot at winning. So what do you guys think about The Quacks?
I've also never played this game before. And I don't know. It sounds really fun. It sounds like there's ducks. I'm going to take a guess it's like the Lords of Waterdeep, but I might be completely wrong in that.
Gimo?
Sure. The Quacks, the Quacks for me. So Concordia and the Quacks I consider similar in the sense that I think they're slightly dull. Like when I play them, I'm like, this game could be more, or this game is just very streamlined, and it almost loses a little bit of the spark. But I love Concordia and I love the Quacks because they're very good at what they're trying to do. And the Quacks is trying to be this light. I mean, I would put him light, medium light, but again, light's okay.
Really? You'd put this on medium light?
I
There's
think
like
so.
nothing to it.
Maybe not. Yeah, I think so. If like something like Seven Wonders, which we went through, right?
I tried to
If
fight
Seven Wonders
for Seven Wonders to
is
be
in
light,
there.
and you guys said no.
Well, so in the same way that I think Quacks should maybe be in there. I think I agree that Seven Wonders shouldn't be light, but I think the Quack should be a little heavier. Either way, I think it does good what it delivers on everything it promises. You see it, it's wacky, it's push your luck, it's bag building, it's quick. Again, just like Concordia, I think it's just a little bit like missing a little spark, but it's still like I can safely recommend this game, and I know people love it for a reason. And I own it, I like it, I play it, I wouldn't get rid of it. It's in my collection, it's keeping it, so I'm happy that it's in here.
All right. So number 3, a game that our group has played the heck out of as well, because it's one of those easy fillers that you can always whip out, just like the Escape and No Thanks. It is For Sale. It's the twice round, and I think you mentioned this before in a different category, where you have to you're playing against the people at the table. You know, the game is pretty static. You know what's kind of coming up and what's going to happen between the 2 rounds. There's not really any modularity there. The modularity comes in with who you're playing against and how they're going to react to the same information being given to everybody. So I really like the whole idea, too, of this like German whist concept where you go around once to buy your hand, basically, for the second phase. And then you use the hand that you bought in the first phase to play it in the second phase. I think Biblios does that, too. So what do you think, guys, about this one?
I actually think double bidding was super fun. I think most games, like No Thanks, sort of settle on like the one time around.
Mm-hmm.
But I think going back around is like what makes the game super fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like the first round is just bidding, right? So if it was just that first round, it'd be like most other shitty games. It'd be like, okay, cool, I'm bidding for the high card. But then the important thing is knowing what you have, because knowing that there's a second round, you can tell yourself, oh, I can lose this one because I have the 27. So I don't need the 26 because I'll wait until that person plays the 26 to play my 27 and fuck him over. So like there's all these like mind games you're trying to bid for. You're like, what can I do for my perfect hand? And even if you don't get you get a shitty hand, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the round, you're going to be like, all right, how do I play it? What's the best way to play it? There's nothing more satisfying than when there's like high cards and everybody plays their 27, 28, 25, and then you play like a 2. And then you get like you still get like a 7,000 out of it. So, because you outplay your opponents. And that's the whole point of the game. Love it here. It is one of those, I played it so much, and it's still like my go-to to be like, hey, this is quick. Everyone's going to like it. Let's just play it. We can do 2 rounds of it. So I'm glad that it's here.
All right. Sounds like we're all in agreement with this one. Like where it's at. Number 2, 2022, light games, is Skull King. Another trick taker for this episode. And, I mean, Gimo and I are both suckers for trick takers. So, Gimo, why don't you take this? You can take this one away.
Yeah. I love Skull King. Skull King it's one of the reasons Adam and I are as close as we are. Not necessarily Skull King, but I remember Adam's like the only person that knows Romanian whist randomly. Like, that's not even like a common like form of whist. It just so happens that we both come in and we're like, oh, you know how to play a trick taker? Yeah, I know how to play whist. Oh, yeah, I know how to play whist too. And then it both was the same rule set. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, that's just so random. And again, I learned this in fucking Chile. So we were across like different hemispheres when we learned these games. And then played it, and we both played it as kids. And then we both played it with each other as adults. And it's Skull King is basically that rule set, right? It's the Romanian whist rule set with a couple of more powers. I don't consider it a light game. I think there's a lot of strategy in here for trick taking, especially trick takings that use bidding. Yeah. I feel like that's medium light. I wouldn't say it's medium heavy, but I don't know if it's light. Like, I wouldn't play this with kids. I mean, although granted, maybe I'm wrong, because Adam and I both learned it as kids.
Yeah.
So,
I do in general tend to agree with you, though, that I think there's the mechanic of of trick taking is a difficult mechanic to grasp.
Yeah.
Early on. What do you think, Bruno, about this one?
I disagree. I think the way you guys are talking about trick taking, I think there's a lot of farts up there.
Which is dumb.
I think you guys need like a fan to just like ventilate the room a little bit. I don't think trick taking. I think getting good at trick taking is hard, and I think that's what you guys are forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone has to fucking count cards. And I've played trick taking games with you guys, and then I see you guys like playing footsies underneath the table, and then get mad at me when I don't know what's happening. Right?
Oh, Bruno's the person I get mad at the crew for. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And so I think the thing is, you guys kind of talk about it like, oh, this is obviously the right thing, blah, 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 blah. Trick taking isn't a hard thing to do. It's getting good at it, which is hard. So I think it should stay in light. But for those people who want to live in their basement and learn heavy strategies for trick taking, this game's for you.
Dude, hearts, spades, they're free on your computer. Go try it out.
There we go, man.
Yeah. I don't like hearts though. Hearts is a one trick taking game that I lose constantly. I don't know why I'm so bad at it compared to every other trick taking game.
Because of the pass.
Like I love spades.
Because of the pass, dude.
Yeah. Fuck.
Pass is hard to master.
Yeah. Fuck the queens.
All right then. Number one, this game, man. Something about this game being like 40 years old and still such an excellent game. Number one, 2022, light game, on the shelf of fame. Can't stop playing this game. Can't stop.
I really can't, dude. And it's not even that short, to be honest. It's a really light game. And then it's always like, oh, we're waiting for someone. Let's play Can't Stop. And it's like, oh, right. It's like a 45-minute game sometimes. Yeah. Like, it's not like a...
Well, you're relying on dice, to like complete the game.
I think... Well, yeah. I'm gonna bounce it to Bruno in a second. But I want to say, I don't think I've ever seen Bruno once lock one of the columns.
He just literally can't stop.
Because he literally can't stop until he's like, oh, I can get all three at once. That's fine, guys. I got it.
I do get a little bit ballsy. I agree. I think if I went to like a casino, I'd probably lose my life in there. I probably have like a gambling problem just hidden inside of me, and I just haven't unlocked it yet.
It hasn't manifested yet.
Yeah, so I think from board games I learned not to go anywhere with gambling. I gambled once with Uno, and oh my god, I never seen myself so desperate before. But to talk about Can't Stop, I think it's that game which this is a feeling I've always had, and ever since Gimo took Lupin Chewy out his collection, I didn't really have a hole to fill myself up with until Can't Stop came in. And that's because it's mindless. And that's what a light game should be. It should be fucking mindless. If you just played like a heavy game, you don't want to take a break with Dominion. You want to take a break with Can't Stop, right? And that's why I think it should be number one. Because it's just the game that you can just sit back and just relax to.
Yeah. This is like borderline, like almost like a party game. You hear cheering, you hear yelling, you hear frustration, and it's like... But you're right. There's mechanics in there. It keeps everyone involved. Like you're always involved. Like in the quack. No, not the quacks. But in like certain games, when it's not your turn, you're like whatever. In this game, it's like you're there. You're like fucking want to see what the person is. And you're like, and then you're egging everybody on. It's like, oh, you know what? You should keep on going, dude. What are the chances you're not gonna roll another 12, 11, and 3? You know?
Yeah. What are the chances? What are the odds? Okay, so you brought it up. So you remember our party games from this year? Oh shit! I did the light games from last year, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
So remember, we mentioned we've already gone over party games from this year. So where do you think, if Can't Stop was in the party game category, do you think it would be number one over Game of Things, or do you think it would be like number 2, number 3?
It'd be lower, because like I said, it's on that line for me of, is it a party game or not? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a party game, but even then, like, it's a lot of involvement, but it's not like the laughs are not as much as a Game of Things or like illustration laughs or like Game of Things laughs sometimes like last for days, dude. Like we go back to some of that shit and like still laugh about it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. All right. Well, still, we all, I think, agree it's deserving of its number one spot in the light category, which is maybe where it belongs.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get to the final category, wrapping up 2022 Shelf of Fame, we'll need a word from our sponsors.
1877 cars for kids. KARS cars for kids. 1877 cars for kids. Donate your cars today. And that's cars with a K.
Yes, don't forget the K, guys.
Yeah.
Only 2 Ks, though, because...
Yeah. Also, again, they're not our sponsor. I feel like we
Wait,
can...
they have a sponsor?
No. I mean, Aaron's mom.
Yeah.
But not 1877 cars for kids.
Actually, I do have a company. Actually, no, I don't. Never mind. I'll wait for after the podcast.
All right. Well, okay, you can cut this out. Do we need to take a break, or are we going to just go into it?
No,
We've
let's
been
just go
recording
into
for like an hour, so yeah, no.
Yeah,
worries.
let's
Okay,
go into it.
okay, cool. Just figured I'd be respectful.
Thank you, Adam.
So,
Always as charming as ever.
all right, the moment everybody's been waiting for, what we've been building up to, the greatest of all time. Of course, we had this last year. And if you remember from last year's episode, actually, I don't know, maybe we edited it and made it okay. Or maybe we talked about it in the episode after, I don't remember. But we made an error calculating the first time.
We did.
Turns out, actually, our greatest of all time game was originally omitted, and then I realized there was an error in the math, and it ended up getting voted as number one when we re-ranked. So that was a little funny one. But episodes of all time, greatest of all time from last year, 2021. Number 5, Eminent Domain. Number 4, Dominion. Number 3, Magic the Gathering. Number 2, Scythe. And number 1, Tigris and Euphrates. So let's see how many of those are still present in our 2022 list. And this year, again, we decided to go to 10. We actually got 13 that made it into the Shelf of Fame in this category, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, there are a lot more of us now, so there are a lot more people's favorite games that other people also really enjoy playing. So I think the 13 is actually a really good ratio for having 10 people, and going to a top 10 makes a lot of sense. So the 3 honorable mentions this year are On Mars, Beyond the Sun, and Race for the Galaxy. I actually kind of thought Beyond the Sun was going to be a bit higher, but what do you guys think about those 3 being our honorable mentions?
I'm going to be honest. I think out of all the Vitalis-started games, I think On Mars is probably one of the weaker ones. Really impressive mechanics, but it's just... I think he went overboard with it. Where on that game where if you fuck up once, you're like fucked for the next 5 turns. It's one of those things where it's not forgiving at all. Beyond the Sun, the time I played it, it went over my head. It was a bit late as well, so maybe I could chalk it up to that. But I didn't have too much fun with that. But Race for the Galaxy, I never played. So I'll give it to Gimo.
You didn't play Race for the Galaxy?
I don't think so.
Oh, did you play San Juan?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
probably.
close. Yeah.
It's San Juan is the one that you are like, there's a big deck of cards, and then you're playing cards, and you use the cards from your hand to pay for the cards in front of you, and then you can produce on those cards and sell them to draw more cards.
Yes, I think I've done that before.
Okay, so Race for the Galaxy is like the heavy version of that.
Oh, okay.
But it's still really short. It's still like a 25-minute game.
It does a lot of this, pretty much all of the same things, except that...
More.
Yeah, and also you each have your own deck of roll cards, so
Yeah.
you could pick the same roll, as opposed to San Juan where you basically like draft the rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. Honestly, I'm okay with all this being the runner-ups and not in the top 10.
Interesting.
Race for the Galaxy, I wouldn't mind seeing on the top 10. I like it a lot. We played it a lot. I still don't think it's gotten beat for what it does. Like it still hasn't. There's Jump Drive, I think, is a game now that's like the sequel to Race for the Galaxy, but it's lighter, which I don't even think it needed. But that's the only one I would say I would want to see on the top 10.
I mean, that's already San Juan, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't
Also,
think it's needed, right?
Did we talk about the Terraforming Mars Ares?
Yeah. Yes.
It's also like Race for the Galaxy, but like they tried to be the same weight as Race for the Galaxy, pretty much. Like Race for the Galaxy already space themed. Like, what are you trying to gain out of that?
Fuck Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I got you. Yeah, the other ones, Beyond the Sun, I don't think it should have been on the list before. I think it was on the list before. I don't think it should have been on the list before. I do think it's a good game. I just don't think... take it this way. It's a buy for me. I'd play it whenever anyone wants to play it. But I don't think... I definitely can think of 10 games that are better than Beyond the Sun. And including all the ones that are on this list. And then On Mars, I'm actually with Bruno. I love On Mars. But out of all the Lacerda games, it's one of... It's difficult with Lacerda, right? Because is it an amazing game? Yes. But out of all the other Lacerda games, I think it's one of the weaker ones, which still makes it one of my favorite games. You know?
Yeah. Nice. All right, then. Let's get right into it. Number 10 is Raw. I don't know if this got a boost because it got the whole beautiful version. For me, personally, I'm kind of a little surprised to see it on here. I do think it is Ryan Kanish's like second best work, but I'm honestly like I do love the bidding and the fact that you get to exchange the tiles that you bid with. That makes for a really, really rich experience. But I don't know. I don't think it would be this high on my top 10 of all time. What do you guys think? Especially since the other one didn't make it. Especially since the other...
I know. I don't. We can mention that at the end, I think, because there's a big issue I see here.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Regarding Raw, I'll tell you this. I'm going to give a spoiler right now because I kind of gave it on the heavy, and H's Team did not make the list. H's Team is my favorite game, and it didn't make the list. Fuck everybody who voted it a play. I was surprised how many people voted it a play. Like, what the fuck, guys? Like, there's some people that I play with that would be like, we maybe played it like 30 times. No, maybe not 30, but like 15 times with them. And they've always been like, yeah, good time. And then they voted a play, and I'm like, wait. We played it like 15 times, and it's only a play for you this whole time? So it's... Oh, that was Matt. Yeah, fuck yeah. Matt.
You sound like a rom-com, dude.
Listen.
Like, didn't that kiss mean anything?
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what it is. But before I keep on bitching about H's Team... My only issue that I have with H's Team, I think, is the bidding. I think the bidding is a very crucial part of the game, but it's so generic that it's just lackluster. Everything else about the game is so cool. Bidding's a little lackluster. It's still important, still fun, but just lackluster. Raw makes bidding... I love the way Raw does bidding. And it's Ryan Kanisha. Okay. Yeah. Ryan Kanisha just knows how to do bidding. The idea that you have tiles, so you don't have to worry about... How much more do I need to bid this with? All you have to worry about, like, is this worth using my big tile over? Mm-hmm. And knowing that I'm going to lose it. Mm-hmm. That's what the fucking game is. And that mechanic of bidding like that, that's, like, if I design a game about bidding that has bidding in it, that's how I would do the bidding. The way Ra does it. Or the way Five Tribes does it. I also like how Five Tribes does it. But Ra, I like it better.
Yeah, and it's not about just, like, using or losing your tile. You're giving the opportunity for somebody else to take it, too. To use it for next round, which is like so good. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. I just looked up Raw to check if I played it, and yes, I think I have. I think top 10 is probably worth it. I think there's some games that I think it actually goes with every board game. It's hard to get your name out there when it comes to board games, right? Because it's not like a TV show where you can watch an episode and then decide if you like it. For board games, you have to buy the game, you have to spend time to learn the rules, and then play it. So a lot of games are made, but they aren't played. But with Raw and other games on this list, they're on the list for a reason, right? So I think Raw has a very good spot in the top 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, number 9. This one's definitely on my personal top 10. And it's Elysium. And like you mentioned before, I don't remember what game you're talking about that hasn't been done better since. Oh, I think it was Race for the Galaxy. Hasn't been done better since. This has not been done better since, too. I think their like drafting mechanic with the pillars and basically having it be a resource allocation thing instead of like a cost. is just such a unique drafting and just mechanic in general, on a twist on a mechanic that people already understand. It adds so much complexity, and it really, really enhances my experience of this game and of drafting in general. And drafting is something I already like. I know, Gimo, you mentioned drafting wasn't your favorite mechanic, but what do you think about drafting implemented in Elysium?
This is tough because Elysium would not be my top 10.
Okay.
In fact, I don't even think it'd be in my top 30.
Wow.
Right? But I hate drafting, and I love the drafting in Elysium. If the drafting on Elysium wasn't every drafting game, like that was the default drafting, I would probably like drafting. That's the thing. It's not that I don't like Elysium. It's that I think
You don't like drafting.
Well, I think it like nailed it. It like, this is the way drafting should be done, and I'm like, I agree. And then nothing happens after that.
Yeah, the rest
like,
of the game's
I'm
pretty lackluster. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like this. It's kind of like generic game and stuff, which is fine. But my main point is like, where the fuck are the follow-ups? You know?
Oh, you mean like expansions and like copycats?
Expansions or like another game. Like everything about it, it's almost like Race for the Galaxy we're talking about, right? It had that role selection, or Puerto Rico better. When Puerto Rico brought out like role selection, everyone's like, that's cool. Let's do more of that. And now you have all these games you can do role selection with. Deck building's the same thing. This type of drafting just got stuck with Elysium, and it's just died there. And I'm like, why? That's fucking awesome. That's such a cool way to do it. I can't tell you how fun it would be if I had a collectible card game like a TCG where instead of mana you had this drafting mechanic. Like that's your mana source. Like you have to play it out. Like I don't want to invest the time in like developing something like that, but that really should have been a bigger deal. Elysium should not belong in the top 10, but Elysium's sequel that should have happened would have been on the top 10.
Number 8, all time, Shelf of Fame, 2022, The Gallerist.
Yes.
Yes. Bruno, have you played this one?
You know what? I have been trying to play this
Okay.
for months. And it never happens.
Yeah.
It never happens.
If you're free tomorrow, I might play it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, with this one, I think this is the equivalent of the Castles of Burgundy to Stefan Feld is the Gallerist to Vital Lacerda. The Gallerist is the one that like everyone was like, whoa, who is this guy? And then you play all his games and they're all like on par with this game. Like I'm not saying the Gallerist is his best game, although it's probably my favorite game from him. But I don't think it's his best game, but it's the one that brought everyone's attention to be like, hey, this guy's serious. And then you play all his games and you're like, holy shit, like, what the fuck? I don't know how he does it. It's like he yearly poops out these fucking games. He just released Weather Machine, and now Inventions is coming out. And I'm like, well, there he goes. I got to back it. And fucking, I'm so glad Eagle Griffin put in Ian O'Toole and then, like, made him masterpieces. Like... This is the type of game that deserves to be $120. And I get it. It's a big fucking markup for like a worker placement game that without miniatures. But holy shit, like all the Ameritrash players that have these crazy CMON miniature games, like this is the equivalent of like, hey, are you a Eurogamer? Well, here it is. Here's your classy fucking Eurogamer that's worth $120, the cardboard stick, and then the gameplay is just... I don't even know how he does it. Like it works. It's clever. Can you imagine telling like Uwe Rosenberg to design a board game that's only 4 worker placement spots? He wouldn't. He fucking died. He's like, oh, well, how do I put the farming theme on this? It's like, relax, all right? This guy, it's the head of industry for a reason. The Gallerist should probably like be like number 1 or number 2 on the greatest of all time. Or at least in the top 5 of it. I'm glad it's in here in the first place, right? Out of all the games we played hundreds and hundreds of games, our whole game group. So being the Gallerist in the top 10 is a big deal already. It's kind of hard to get there. I'm just saying that it belongs, I think, for me, higher on the list. It's the perfect game. Like there's nothing that I would... like with HS Team, even though I like HS Team more than the Gallerist, I have flaws with HS Team. I can't think of a flaw with the Gallerist, right? And that's kind of where it goes into. So that's my passionate, long-ass Vital Lacerda fanboy review.
I think the only flaw that some people would see with the Gallerist is its length. I think that I agree with you that the gameplay is very rich, and there is so much to think about like kicking people and the different positions, because there's only 4 of them, and how you're gonna like sequence everything, and which of the actions you take when you go to that spot, things like this. But man, I can see people thinking it's too long of a game, and maybe that means some of our, like, a lot of our friends haven't played it, so that could be why it's lacking a little bit on the list. Because I do agree with you, I could see it top 5 for me on these games. I could see a top 5 for me, but here it is at number 8, and fittingly at number 7, and the greatest of all time, is 7 Wonders, the ultimate 7-player game.
Go. Very quickly, my only issue with moving the Gallerist up is that it would push 7 Wonders to number 8, and that just doesn't make sense.
You can't do that. So. Yeah. I mean, it could switch with number 6, though, maybe. So, I mean, Yeah. But, yeah, 7 Wonders, man. Our play group has played the shit out of this game. With the expansions, like we talked about during the expansions, 2 of its expansions made it into the greatest of all time for expansions, because this game does rely a bit on its expansions, but I think we fell in love with it even before the expansions, and the expansions just make it even better. So, Bruno, what are your reminiscing thoughts about 7 Wonders?
I have played this game,
Mm-hmm.
although I was just thinking about it. I was like, man, I haven't played some of these games. I wonder what they're going to think of me. And then I remembered, you guys have been alive fucking like 13 years longer than I have. So you had all this time to play all these fucking games. So don't look at me like I'm just some filthy casual, all right? I've been in the game.
Have you even played 7 Wonders, dude?
I like 7 Wonders. I actually think 7 Wonders is just, it shouldn't be shat on as much as it is. I feel like 7 Wonders is, we play it so much that it's not really something you offer up anymore. But I actually really like the mechanics on it. I like how it's kind of like an engine builder, the same way Everdale kind of is, kind of. But I actually really like 7 Wonders.
It's got drafting, and Gimo hates drafting, but it's still number 7.
I mean, it's what other game are you gonna get strategy out of in 25 minutes for 7 players?
It's true.
And in fact, when I went to visit my niece for the first time, my sister bought this game. I recommended to them. I was like, yeah, buy it. And then we buy it and played it, and they loved it, dude.
The facelift one?
Yeah,
Nice.
the second edition version.
Nice.
They loved it. In fact, for their wedding, they're getting married in a couple of weeks. I literally bought them the expansion as a present. Actually, the real present is going to be Bruno, because I paid for his ticket. So I got Bruno this sexy, like, ribbon lingerie he has to wear. That's because he's the present. But apart from that, I'm also giving them the expansion for 7 Wonders.
Did they reprint all the expansions with the nice artwork? Oh, nice. Good.
Yes.
I know they were in the process of it, but glad they did all of it.
Yeah.
Did they only print Armada with the new artwork?
No, I have Armada on the old version.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think it's, by the way, this is one of those games that I actually don't think is worth getting the second edition for. Well, sorry.
I mean,
if you have to choose an edition, choose the second edition. But if you have the first one, I don't think you need to upgrade.
It's just like Great Western Trail, I would say. Like, you don't need to have... The second doesn't do anything that is worth buying it over. It's just more like, if it's your first one, you should just get the second edition. Just,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, I disagree with the Great Western Trail part, but yes, I agree with 7 Wonders. And we don't have to go into
okay.
it.
We can
But
later.
Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, maybe we can later. Who knows?
Maybe. All right. Well, we'll just move along then to number 6. And number 6, the greatest of all time for 2022, Shelf of Fame, 5 Tribes. So I think, like you mentioned with Elysium, where the drafting was such a huge, unique mechanic that nobody really else implemented, I feel like this Mancala that 5 Tribes does is also just not really been re-implemented, though it's just there for the taking, and somebody should fucking do something with it. And on top of that, I think the bidding is really, really good, like you already talked about. It's probably It's one of the best bidding systems that I've ever seen, too. But I mean, the rest of the game behind it is, I guess, kind of okay. So, what do you guys think of Five Tribes and its spot at number 6?
I've played it before. Okay, I've played it, guys.
Okay.
Have you? Or are you lying? Are you playing it right now to try to get
right
it?
now.
I will say this: it was nothing memorable.
Interesting.
Which I think me and Adam have very different opinions on. Nothing memorable about this game. I think it's alright. It is not a buy for me. It's definitely just a play. Just because I just think even if it did something innovative, it doesn't mean that it was amazing at what it did. I can make a board game where you have to shit yourself. That doesn't. It's an innovative mechanic, but is it that fun? I don't know.
You're right. Maybe you should design that game. Well, I'll tell you this. Bruno Cathala designed Five Tribes. I don't know if that changes your opinion, because you guys are both Bruno.
I really love this game. I think it was super innovative. Nothing like shitting yourself.
But
really
see, so I think Five Tribes is really good. I love Five Tribes. It's gonna stay in my collection. I don't see it anytime leaving my collection. It goes back to kind of what I said about maybe some other games like Raw. Like Raw's the same thing. I love it. Does it belong as a number 6 and greatest of all time? Probably not. But I mean, there's not that many flaws with it. The Mancala mechanic, it's beautiful. The bidding, I fucking love the bidding in this game. I love the idea that like instead of, because when we talked about Power Grid in the past, I forgot what fucking category was for, but one of the things we mentioned was how we have different strategies on bidding, right? Like you can do this, you can do that. Bruno bids himself. He goes like, what's the line that you use, Bruno?
I don't know.
When you negotiate,
Junkyard gave you 50. I gave you 25.
Yeah, when he buys cars. But either way, the thing about it is it only has one strategy for bidding, and I like it a lot because it's just like how well are you at planning your turn, and that's how you bid. And I like that a lot better than having to go one at a time. How it's not about like, okay, how cheap can I get this? It's more like a little bit of that, but not enough. So I love Five Tribes. I'll keep it in my collection. Bruno Cathala nailed it out of the park. I don't think it's a top 10, but honestly, it might be a top 20 or top 30 for me. It's still that good. And I know a lot of our fan groups like it. I know this is actually one of the... In fact, the two games that I'm having somewhat of an issue with, which is Five Tribes and Raw, I know what friend probably nominated them and probably rated them like 1 and 2. So, that's my thing.
I don't know. I do really like Five Tribes. I think it wouldn't personally be my top 10, but it would be close. There's enough there for me. Like it gives me a really unique experience. The Mancala experience is something you can't really get from any other game, and I value that a lot. Of having something in my collection that's a unique experience, but not as unique as the experience you get from number 5 on the list, which is Magic: The Gathering.
So Bruno hasn't played this one yet either.
Yeah, so we'll just skip and go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll skip Bruno on this one. We talked about Magic in 2 players. I think, yeah, we did it with 2 players, and we did it with
Art.
I think it was something else, right? Artwork. Yeah. We said our says. Again, I think it's amazing. I think EDH revolutionized the casual scene. The casual scene was dying with Magic, and they brought it back with making Commander a legitimate format. I still play Modern. I like to play competitive. So, Bruno, does it... Well, I guess Adam, so we'll go... I'm sure Bruno has stuff to say. So, does it belong in... For me, does it belong in the top 10? Yes. I think it revolutionized the industry. It keeps every fucking LCG... I mean, not LCG... local gaming store alive, and I still have fun with it. I know you don't have as much fun because you can't find your deck and stuff, but I think it belongs in here.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just rating the game itself, then yeah, no, I wouldn't put it in my personal top 10. But for the reasons that you're saying, I mean, it's pivotal to the hobby, and I think that we really wouldn't have like board gaming. Almost, we wouldn't have board game without Magic: The Gathering.
Yeah,
like Magic: The Gathering is what makes board gaming accessible. Outside of Target and Walmart and Barnes and Noble, and without that, none of these, like a lot of these designers wouldn't have been able to feasibly have a career, maybe until like Kickstarter came out, and maybe that would have been the thing that jumped it. into a hobby, but the fact that these local gaming stores were able to carry these games and bring them to their shelves and then bring them to people's homes made it so that we're even having this podcast. So, Bruno, go ahead, take it away.
This shit my jam. I don't think it should be number 5.
Just think it should be number 1.
It's my number 1 because listen, you can play whatever our number 1 spot is. You can probably play that 50 times and then you might get bored. I played Magic probably over 100 times, and I still love that game because it's ever changing. Mm-hmm. And I actually think it's unfair to have Magic in these lists because it's not like it has an expansion come out for it like every month, right? That like changes the game a crazy fucking like amount.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's good. I'm sure you guys have talked about it already. I think it's good casually. I think it's good competitive. Obviously, sometimes it's kind of annoying once in a while, and you fight against a spike. But besides that, I think it's great.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, too, what Bruno said is actually true. I want to say like the game that we're gonna be talking about, it has number 4. I don't think has this issue, but a lot of these games, I agree with Bruno. If you were to play it 30 times, 50 times, it would lose a lot of its. It loses replayability. It's not as replayable. Magic, because of all the expansion and shit. We've all in this podcast have played this game. I want to say maybe 1,000 times at least, and you're still willing to play it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's true. Some of us are still into it. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Well,
reluctantly, whether it's reluctant or not.
Yeah. Magic's one of those things that's not really a game. It's more like a lifestyle, Mm-hmm. And one of the games that Gimo and I made into a lifestyle is number 4 on this list, which is Dominion. And man, when Dominion Isotropic or whatever was out, holy shit. I played that all the time. I'd be like in lab playing it. I'd be like on Christmas break in my room playing it. I'd just be having the time of my life clicking pictures on the computer and putting them in my digital deck and making a deck and then playing so many different expansions of Dominion. This game, like you said just now, is the one that also doesn't have that replayability like diminishing factor. There's just so many cards, so many opportunity to have a different experience that it's a game I'm gonna keep going back to. So what do you guys think about Dominion?
I agree with Gimo when he says that it's probably just as replayable as Magic, and I think that's because look at how many fucking expansions like Dominion has. I think it's the expansions that carry this game. Right? Because if you just play base Dominion the whole time, you're going to find the strategy that's just best every time. But with the addition of new cards, I think it's what keeps it so alive, especially for a game that's been around for so long.
I don't really like this game that much. Like, I like having a deck and being able to play it.
You like making your own deck before you start playing the game.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we talk about Dominion so much. We love it. It's just you're right. I wonder, Bruno. I don't know how much we've played Dominion together. I don't know how much we've played Dominion together because, from what it sounds like to you, from what it sounds like over here, you think we're pretty snobby when we play trick-taking games. So I wonder if Adam and I are also snobby when we play Dominion. We go like, poof, he's picking up a witch at this point. Shouldn't he be buying this other card first? You did that out of order. You should have bought a silver first. Duh. We played this game way too much, and I'm still playing it, and I'm still buying fucking expansions. It's fine. It's a good game. It's very closely scratches Magic itches. And Adam hates to admit it. He pretends he doesn't like it, but he fucking loves combos because he plays fucking Dominion. All right, don't let him act like he's old. Like, I only like heavy interaction and I don't like engine building and I don't like combo making. Because I've seen him play Dominions. We played it hundreds of times, and that motherfucker 50% to 60% of the time. Oh, hold on, let me make this combo.
Witches. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. This is my one like release to have that, where it give like you. There are some games where you just can't. You have to play by yourself. Based on the Kingdom cards. I usually try to find an opportunity to not just play by myself, but majority of the games of Dominion, you have to find a strategy that works to get that little gain above your opponent instead of attacking them to directly force them to have a hard time.
I agree.
Speaking of directly attacking people so that they have a hard time, I'm really getting on these segues. Number 3.
You know what? I haven't come. They've been pretty good. I've been hearing them out. I didn't point them out. I'm like, man, he's really trying to go for those, and they've been working out. So go ahead.
Number 3, Dominant Species. Man, brutal game. Bruno, did you finish playing a game of this once?
Listen, I have fucking almost played this game 3 times.
Yeah.
If there's a cuckold inside the industry, it's me. I'm that cuckold. I have set it up. I've picked 2 different races before. And each time... Okay, it's not my fault. Whenever we're waiting for somebody, some fucking asshole gets their bright idea. Let's play Dominant Species and wait for him.
What?
What a shitty game to pick. This happened twice where we were waiting for people and we decided to play Dominant Species to wait for him. And it's never worked out. I don't know who comes up with the idea. I don't know if it's me, if I'm just shit-talking myself. But man, never once. It looks fun. It looks great, actually.
Yeah.
I probably voted it in without playing it.
You know what I think I'm gonna do tomorrow? I'm gonna play both Dominant Species and the Gallerist, just to spite Bruno.
No, you should play Dominant Species while you wait for Bruno to come, and then.
I almost want to get the Marine, like the Dominant Species Marine, just to try it out, because I already tried it. I love the original one. Maybe I should get the Marine just to have both and have the option.
Does Marine cap at 4, or does it?
Yeah,
play
it caps
6?
at 4.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm not gonna say anything more. We talked about Dominant Species already on some of the previous episodes. I forgot which ones, but I'm surprised it's up here on the top 3. I'm not mad about it. I think it's actually fine that it's up here in the top 3. It is that good of a game. It's just brutal. I remember this one time, Hannah played it too with us. And I was like, I can't believe she's playing it with us. Like,
I do remember that. That was a good place.
She was just doing us a favor, and I'm like, wow, this is like, I can't believe this is not a game that she enjoyed at all, and it's brutal. It's like, it also careful. You got to be careful with who. I made this joke that this breaks friendships, and it is. It's like, it's so fucking tenseful, and you hate everyone throughout the whole game. It's such a good game, though. It's almost like diplomacy. It's like in that sense of you feel so betrayed because it's so hard to work for stuff in this game, and then it's so easy to get it taken away.
So it's like we talked about with Lifeboats, same thing.
Yeah. So it is just fucking fuck everybody playing this game, but at the end of the day, it's a good game, and as long as you have the right group of people that don't get butthurt that easily, Dominant Species it's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, you can't play with Gimo. That means because.
No, you can't play with fucking Adam. All right? Fucking, oh my God, the politics. Dude. Bruno called me out another episode where I did do some politicking to get him to target him. And it was true. I was being a real Adam that day.
Yeah,
who called you out?
That's what I said. I went, we were playing, and then I went, I didn't know I was playing with Adam today. Because
I have really toned that down a lot, but I was really bad in college. Hey, but I won the only 2 games of Advanced Civ that we've played. So
that's true. Because people fucking buy this shit. I don't understand. I'm like, are you guys how fucking dumb are you guys? Everyone went to Jupiter. Adam's like, oh, everyone, we should target this other person. I know I have the most points in the best board position, but that's probably just temporary. I'm like, and everyone's like, you know what? Adam's right. It's like, are these people, what the fuck?
Wait,
yeah. That's what's irritating.
Out of those 2 times, didn't Richard win one, even though he left?
Richard got that win one. That's why he won.
Yeah, Richard had to leave. If Richard didn't leave, I would have lost for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
We'll do the next one. I have the Western Empires now, which is they cut it to 11 hours, 10 to 11 hours. So supposedly it's only that long.
We still have to go for a whole weekend now because we're old people, but.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff probably has to happen.
Couldn't just bang that out on a Saturday. I don't. Maybe, but I don't know. All right. No good transition this time.
Talking about banging.
Oh, talking about banging. Number 2 on the list for greatest of all time 2022. I think it's deserving. It's Scythe. So when I remember the first time this game came out, and we played it at a convention, and that was one of those when I was like heavy politics. We all were all like getting mad at each other from being on that trip. But I remember the first time I played, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't think this game's for me. I don't really have a good experience. I don't really like. I had to play it a couple more times maybe to understand like what's going on, but it doesn't really feel like it's all coming together for me. And then I played it a couple more times, and man, this game almost like has it all. It has what I'm looking for in a lot of facets of gaming. You can do pretty much the things that you would want to do. It appeals to all different kinds of play styles, of different like traditional board gaming play styles, and it's all wrapped into one game, which I think is just brilliant. Bruno, what do you think?
I think that's really touching. I think when I first played this board game, drawing those cards, the like event things, and looking at the board and the box, and I thought one thing: this artwork seems very familiar.
It's a fucking
besides me boycotting until he apologizes for what he did, I love this game. Except it taught me one thing. Sometimes you can't be too good at a game. And I'm talking about Gimo. Gimo has like ruined his own game. Now whenever he plays with anyone, this happened every time. He'll get to, what is it, 8 stars or 6 stars?
6.
He'll get to 6 stars while everyone else is at 2 or like 3. And he just steamrolls every time. He played a whole legacy game and he won every game. He won every campaign game and act like it was nothing. I think you can be too good at something, and I think he needs to dial it down a little bit.
Oh boy, I love this game. Well, one, I love playing it, and it just happens to be, you know what it is? It happens to be the type of game that I'm good at, right? And I would say the same thing for like you or Adam. There's certain games where you guys shine, where it's just like, that's like, okay, that's their type of game, and Scythe happens to be that one. But I wanted to go back to what Adam said too, is I remember when I played it for the first time, because this was a huge deal. There was so much hype behind this game, because it was Stonemeyer's like first big Kickstarter release that wasn't like just components, and it was I think Eureka right before this, or I forgot, I think it was called Eureka, I forgot what it was, the dice game.
It had nice minis, but it was like not, it was affordable,
It was right at the it reminds me of like almost Alien Frontiers, when Alien Frontiers went on Kickstarter, and they were like, hey, Kickstarter games can actually look good, right? Because most Kickstarter games before Alien Frontiers looked like shit. And then they're like, whoa, you can have a good production and be Kickstarter. And then Kickstarter kind of shift to be like, oh, okay, that's Kickstarter. Kickstarter should be finished games. Should be like what you expect out of production games. And then Scythe did something different. Scythe was like, no, Kickstarter's now going to be overproduced. It's like overproduction games. But it kept a good price point. It's not like now a lot of overproduction games now. It's like now it's like $200-$300 for an overproduced game. Scythe was fucking $45. You can get them out of a store. And I remember playing it the first time. It was dull. I was like, I didn't have a problem with things clicking. I had a problem with like, it felt like Concordia in the sense of like, this game is just lackluster. It's like, you just do what it's supposed to do, plays itself out. And then I played it more and more. I'm like, man, this game is fucking good. One, it's not a high level of entry, but it's also like, it delivers on everything it wants to do. It's like, oh, does it have minor combat? Great. There's some combat there. You can actually choose a faction that's heavy combat if you want combat. Do you want to just farm? Great. There's a fucking faction that you don't even need mechs, so you can just go farm everywhere you want. It's replayable. The expansions are great. This is one of those games where I would do the campaign a third time happily. Happily would do that campaign a third time. I love it. Number 2, it probably should be up here as number 2. I don't think Jamie Stegmaier is that great at making games. I don't like his designs are okay. It's just except for this one. Like most of his designs, I'm like, they're pretty good. Like I like Tapestry and shit, but Scythe is just like a whole other level. Like right, like if he made a game like Scythe every time he designed a game, that we'd be talking about. I would be talking about Jamie the way I'm talking about Vital. Love it.
Well, I think one of the big like you mentioned, Jamie made a huge contribution to the game, to the industry anyways. Like whether or not he's excellent at making games is up for debate, but he did do a very good job of the like supply chain and understanding how Kickstarter works and improving on that and making it a gold standard, like you said. Like not only did he make this excellently beautiful game in Scythe, he kept the price point down somehow and was able to keep it in the range so that it's accessible to basically everyone. Like these Simon games, they are also beautiful, but the price point like prices some people out from being able to spend that much on the hobby on one game. This just became such a huge hit, not only because of the way it looks, but the fact that it, like you said, it's approachable, it's replayable, and it has a lot of like conflict and like optimization that you can really dive into, and it makes it so that I don't think it's like infinitely replayable like we were talking about, with Magic the Gathering and Dominion, but I'm sure you could get more than 50 plays out of this and still really, really love it.
All right, should we go to our number one?
Speaking of games, you can get infinite. No.
That's stretching it. Yeah. Speaking of games that are number one,
Speaking about games you can
let's
make
go to our number one.
For 2022, our last game, the Shelf of Fame, number
happy,
1, 2022. Oh my God, it's Great Western Trail. Okay, I'm just gonna shut up. You know what? You guys shower the praises of why this game belongs at number 1 and why it's the best game of all time.
I'll start by saying why it should have been HS Team. Like, why are all our friends just little fucking bitches? Like, holy shit. Should have been number 1. Should have been fucking HS Team. Why? Like, I get it. Great Western Trail is a great game. I love it. But, like, I don't know if we were like everybody felt bad for Adam not getting any games last year.
Probably
into the GOAT, but that's fine. Adam likes shit games anyway.
Probably.
So they don't. I forgot. I was gonna say. Great Western Trail. Why I think. What does it belong here? It belongs in the top 10. Probably actually. Alexander Pfister's a pretty good designer.
Belong top 5, definitely. Top 3, yeah. I can see it.
It's definitely on my top 20. Games of all time.
What? You don't even think it's your top 10?
I don't know if it's top 10, to be honest.
What?
It's not top 10?
Okay,
well, you like fucking poopy, like, half-ass games, like HS Team. HS
Bruno,
Team took 18 exec and removed half the mechanics, and
what's
you, like, sucked his
your
dick
favorite
for
game?
some
Is it?
My favorite game? Kanban.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kanban
okay.
has
So
everything.
then,
got him.
Got me, I guess. I don't know. I can't say shit about that, so I'll just keep on shitting on Adam instead. Fuck Great Western Trail. No. One of the things I wanted to bring up though was the you had said like if it's worth buying the second edition or not. In a sense, depends on what you're looking for in the game. I like games that are. I do like constricting games, but I do like having options to delve a little more into different things in specific types of games. I guess it's kind of hard to explain, but Great Western Trail's second edition gave you more money, which made it a little bit easier to do more stuff. You would do more in the game, as opposed to Great Western Trail. Like I would call it like the first edition. It's a little more. I don't want to say it's linear. It's just tight. So you're like, I have to do this. I can't experiment with this. I have to do this.
But are you saying you do want that or you don't want that?
It depends on the game, but specifically with Great Western Trail, I do want it, which is why I like the second edition more. And I actually bought the second edition because I was like, I like having more money because now it means I can do more, the people, right? I can get more people. I can get more cards. I want to do more of what the game offers, as opposed to just barely survive by doing what I have to do. It's the way I would see it. But top 10 is it in my top 10? No. Do I think it should belong in the top 10? Yes. Should it be number 1?
Yes.
Probably not, but I mean, I want to say no, but I got outvoted. So it's not like I can talk too much shit. I'm gonna go check what I ranked it. I probably ranked it number 1. Let's see.
Did you?
No.
I know
I
somebody
ranked
else
it
did.
number 6. I ranked it number 6.
What about you, Bruno? What'd you rank it?
Let's check.
I'll check it.
I ranked it.
So he ranked Great Western Trail 3, though.
Yeah, number 3.
Oh, Magic the Gathering.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it
Don't
might have
look at
not
how
made
he
it
didn't
into
put
the list or
Kanban.
something, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I do have a question about Great Western Trail that is good advice for the viewers. Is the only thing changed in the second edition those like bandit cliff things?
they changed the amount of money that you get from those. So some of them you used to have to pay for, and now they all give you money, which
Kind
is
of, yeah.
All right, so that you can fix that with like a sticker
sure.
though, right?
Yep. The second thing that they did was they changed the first player, second player, third player, fourth player. They changed the, I guess, last player advantage, whatever you want to call it, where they gave, instead of just giving money, they also give cards, which, as you know, it's a
You can change that with like a Sharpie though, right?
correct. And then the third thing they did that you can't change is they made other cows.
Ah, there you go.
I mean, you could print it, I guess, print and play it, but they made a whole new type of cow.
Listen, I'm saying what I did with Tokaido, you guys would love it. I had to laminate all the
forgot you did
fake
that.
cards that I had for that game. Yeah, but Great Western Trail, I think it deserves to be number 1. I think besides Kanban, besides Fartbox, fucking Age of Steam, I think it's a good game all around. I think if you ask anyone to play it, they'll always play it, even if it does take like an hour or 2.
I was just gonna say the other thing that it did change the top places too, the second edition, rebalance those.
Because they added that exchange token that you can now get in some of them.
All I'll say is that there is conventions for Magic the Gathering, like tournaments and stores. There's an HS Team convention. There's no Great Western Trail convention. So
Just because you made the convention doesn't mean that it counts, dude. You can't make a Facebook group and like meet up at a park and then call it like a
that's good.
convention.
No, people do really love Age of Steam. Actually, I was listening to Heavy Cardboard. That one of those hosts is like his number 1 game of all time is Age of Steam.
It's a lot of people say like there's a convention. Like you can literally go to a con that's only HS Team. They release a new map every year.
But Age of Steam's like a love it or hate it game, and everybody loves Great Western Trail, so that's why it's number 1.
You know what? I can see that. I think HS Team is like HS Team is not what everyone's looking for. HS Team is not what everyone's looking for. But if you are looking for it, it's literally the best.
You have to be really mature, you know?
Except 18XX. You think, like Bruno said, I mean, I guess it depends on if you're looking for a shorter game. That's the difference, right? Because adding the whole stock market changes the length of the game, obviously. And there's no pick up deliver anymore. But
you know
still
what Age of Steam is?
There's a lot of similarities.
Age of Steam to 18XX is what Gloomhaven is to D&D. Just like a shitty copy.
That's actually not a bad.
I think that's what it is.
Not a bad analogy.
I think that's what Age of Steam is. It's just like it takes 18XX and it removes the main mechanic, and that's what Gloomhaven does. It removes the DM, and I think it comes out pretty bad.
It's not a bad analogy.
You guys just
But who knows? Maybe I'm just a hater.
I bet you guys. I guarantee you guys probably like it and just voted it at like a junk just so it wouldn't show up, like out of spite.
No, I voted it a play, and I really honestly think that it's a play for me.
What did
I
Bruno
might have
vote?
voted
I
it
don't
a
even know.
junk.
Like that would
Yeah,
have
I
to be
think
too hard
about
to go
it.
back. But it doesn't matter. I'll get over it. You know, it is what it is. There's a reason why I'm stepping out of the podcast. It's the HS Team hate.
The reason, because
I can't handle it.
sure. Okay, just to get one more thing in about Great Western Trail and why it's my favorite game. I think just the different avenues to being able to. It feels like you're playing multiple different games in the same game, and because of that, it feels like there's multiple different ways that you can play each of the games based on what you're offered. And the high level of tactics for me is what I really look for and love in games. So I think having that high level of tactics and also having like a really hard to evaluate player interaction makes this like the greatest game that I've played.
It has a track around that where there's a train in. So at the end of the day, it's a train game. So I can see it being number 1.
Game,
yeah.
There is a wooden train that comes in the box.
There's 4 of them, one for each player. So It's a train game.
One for each player. There's a whole Rails to the North expansion that also is just the train.
I can see why everyone voted on number 1. If HS's team couldn't be there, they needed to put a different train game in there.
Yeah. It's a new train map. The whole Rails to the North is just a train map. That's it.
Are there any games you guys wish that was in like the top 10?
Oh, I have one.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
HS's team.
Yeah. I also well, I think you guys will agree with this. I think Brass should have been there. Brass was always like I never played it until like a month ago. And holy shit, that game was amazing. I really think that's like an underrated game. At least inside our play group. That's like probably one of like my favorite heavy Euros now.
In fact, fuck Matt, because he told me, he's like, I was like, Matt, you voted HS's team a play. Why? Did our kiss mean nothing? And then he goes, and then like his reply was, well, I voted Brass a buy, and I think that should be like, Brass is a pretty good game. And because it's the same design, and I'm like, they can both be buys. You don't have to be like, oh well, they're both heavy Martin Wallace games, so only one of them can be a buy. It's like, no, they can both be buys.
Gimo keeps telling me I'm gonna love Brass whenever we play it again. I played it once. I think it was with I don't know. It was with Gimo and somebody else.
It was probably maybe Richard.
Yeah,
or
Richard.
or
But it was
Matt,
a learning
Matt.
game, so
Yeah,
could have been Matt. But it could have been Matt. But it was a learning game, and I never got it back to it. So I do think, since it's been so long, my next game might be a learning game too, and then I'll have to play it a third time.
Yeah, but
so.
did you play the signed edition though? That's what makes it good, dude. It's that the box is signed.
I did not play that.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
That would have done it for me, I guess. So I guess the one that's missing for me is the one that was number 1 last year. On
Oh
the
yeah,
list, Tigers and
yeah.
Pleiades.
Why is that not on the list?
I'm not really sure what happened there. It's number 2 in medium heavy, above Scythe, but somehow it didn't make it into.
So we had a limit of what you could nominate, how many you can nominate.
I think nobody nominated it. Must have been
Because I was surprised when I did not see it there. When we did the list, I'm like, wait, what happened to it? Like, it deserves to be up there. Like, any of these spots. If Tigers and Fairy was on any of these spots, I'd be perfectly fine with. I'm just surprised it's not there at all. So that means either people didn't nominate it, or because it can happen, right? If it's one of the best games, but it's not everyone's top 3 game, then it just goes unseen.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think it just didn't get nominated. I think that must have been what happened.
Yeah, that's nuts that wasn't in there.
It's weird, but it made it into medium heavy, and it was number 2 in medium heavy, which means it probably would have gotten pretty high in greatest of all. It could have even been number 1 in greatest of all time, but it's not.
You know what, guys? I think we need some closing music, some beautiful shit. Maybe some like trumpets.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah,
choirs.
No, we're not.
Wait, we used to do that as a joke, and then it got out of control, so then we stopped. we had to stop that.
We both delivered on it,
Yeah.
and then we were like, "Oh wait, it's going to get more and more ridiculous."
Yeah, it was like so much. It was getting too difficult. Yeah, so I was like, "Nah, this is getting crazy." At one point, like Adam was singing like opera music.
Yeah, did happen. That did happen.
So yeah. A joke's out. It's banned. It's a banned joke. It's one of the rules of the only rule in Rat Tails, we don't make that joke anymore.
All right. So the question is this better than the Dice Tower
For sure.
awards?
We don't make a bullshit
so? I mean,
category. I forgot to say best track network building bidding game made from the 2001 award goes to HS's team. We forgot to mention that as a category though.
You're right. Category 15. I didn't see it. Shit.
Man, you guys could have filled the fucking power vacuum. Dice Tower took off, and you guys could have been the next biggest podcast.
Instead, here we are. Listen, like Adam said, it's like, hey, if Gimo, if you and Afton wanted to continue, you guys can go ahead, but you're gonna have to edit. So that's not the fun part.
This is not the fun part.
I want Tom Vassell here.
Tom Vassell also probably doesn't edit, so
yeah,
still need to figure that out.
Yeah,
yeah, fuck that guy. You're right, Adam. I made such a stupid mistake to bring him up. What an asshole.
All right. I don't need to censor more stuff from Bruno. All right, that was a good list, guys. This is we sprinkled the episodes a little bit. This is supposed to be 126, but I know we did some funky stuff. So with that in mind, we're expecting the next episode to be the last episode. So for almost leaving, Bruno, thank you for coming. Again, thank you for last year. You did a lot of the same work we did for the Shelf of Fame.
Last minute work.
Yeah, we really rushed you for that.
You really made it happen, though.
Yeah.
Seriously. If it was just me and Gimo, it would not have been as good.
Yeah.
So.
Fuck checking the world. Fuck checking the world.
Super heavy game.
Awful.
Yeah. So thanks for playing that heavy
play it
Euro.
again, like sometime when you're Why don't you play it sometime again? Like at 6 o'clock, and you're like, wow, this game is fucking stupid.
It's a pretty bad game.
No one explained the rules.
Because it was so easy, dude.
There weren't rules.
I literally
just walk around.
When Adam opened up the game, he's like, I don't have to explain the rules. And then I'm like, yeah, you don't have to. I know exactly what's happening in this game. And we started playing it. Like, it was that, I was saying, like, that shitty of a game where it was just like, yeah, I can just play this game because I've already played it before. I played this game before like 30 times. So it's like, yeah. It's like when someone breaks in, like, hey, I backed this game on Kickstarter. It's called Funny Old People. And I'm like, yeah, I know what the rules are. I bet there's a prompt and you have to play a card from your hand. Ho, that's cool. That's so original.
Listen, no one was quarterbacking, so I didn't know what was going on.
That's what was missing. All right, guys. Let's end it up. Thank you for listening. Catch us next time. And they lived happily ever after.
The end. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at RatTailGames. And also, you can email us at rattailgames@gmail.com. Visit our website, www.rattail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll continue our story next time.